levels. Stay with me.
Run Nigerians, the process paid the ultimate price, while many will forever live with indelible scars occasioned by the determination to protect the country, no matter the hurdle. Despite these, they have remained resolute and undaunted, and today, and restored. And now, for the first time in a long time, the end of Boko Haram is foreseeable. Therefore, the wisest thing for the remaining insurgents to do is to surrender today or face total destruction from the army. Remember, the Nigerian army will stop at nothing to ensure that total peace is restored in all parts of the country. So, be wise and embrace peace today or get ready to be ruthlessly dealt with. This message is brought to you by the Coalition on Conflict Resolution and Human Rights in Nigeria.
Nice to have you back. Let's begin the show by underlining the essence of election. Mr. I guess, permit me, welcome to today's show.
Thank you too.
How has it been?
It has been wonderful.
I'd like to ask people, how is Nigeria today?
Nigeria is doing fine.
All right, straight to the point. What is the essence of election?
We have a constitutional democracy. So, of course, the essence of it is that the government itself is seen to be by the people and for the people. So, the essence of election is where people, by the majority elect an individual based on certain reasons, which is supposed to be based on constitutional democracy, which will represent them. Of course, considering the dividends of democracy. So when the options are weighed, one of the parties becomes elected by the majority decision.
That's ideally speaking. But so far, looking at Nigeria's history to democracy and to Western electionary process from 1990 date, of what benefit has it been to the local government levels especially?
You see, it's so pathetic when we talk about the local government level or administrations of local governments. Even though we have a federal structure of government, the local government is seen as the tool with which the state government gets to power. The local government is seen as rather elections, I'll call it selection. There have never been, since the inception of the republic under which we are now, since 1999, there have never been an electoral democratic system in our local government, and it's so unfortunate. What we rather have is appointees, a system where people are selected who will protect the interests of the governor, and then see how they can also rob the people of what is due to the people. So it's strange and it's pathetic, and that's where we should get it right from. Once we get it right from the local government, then we're home and dry.
Could that explain why the attendant violence, electoral violence at the local government level, could that explain why?
Of course, when the syndrome of selection instead of election comes in, then those that agree will result to self-help. When institutions of government there's breakdown in institutions of government, when indeed the electoral body, who ought to be independent, by the way, we have a state electoral independent, Even though they call it is independent, we all know that they are all tools for the governors in place. So when these institutions are not working, then people resort to self-help. People don't have faith in the democratic system or structures. Then it results to electoral violence. Of course, we can't talk about electoral violence without electoral malpractices. Electoral violence is just an offshoot of electoral malpractices. It's like one of the impacts of when you have electoral malpractices, it gives birth to electoral violence. So once we get our electoral structures properly, then we'll be able to say bye-bye to electoral violence. But as long as we don't get our electoral structures accurately, then unfortunately, even as much as we try to jettison the issue of electoral violence, it will still remain with us.
So by and large, the bulk falls on the table of the state governor and the election empire?
Yes, institutions of government, necessarily not the governor, institutions, because governor will come after 4 years, he will leave. But once we have a working institutions, once we have faith in our institutions, once the institutions are not taking sides, once the institutions are independent, financial autonomy, then we are saying that we have faith and trust in our system. But when the institution will have to return back to the governor and say, please pay our salary, fund this election, then we know who is going to take the day. That's why it's strange. You see in some states already, you see the government in power winning the entire local government election, which is strange. As though they are, in fact, some you just hear that the election is next week. So there's no institution. Our institutions are weak. They are, I'll call it, not just weak, they are, what would you like to say now? They are in coma.
They are comatose.
Yes, they're in coma. So, and then it's strange that we'll not be able to see structure effectively work at local government level because there is no independence. There's no independence. There's no institutional democracy. Democracy is not just about going 4 years to elect, but the institutions, security-wise, the police must be independent. The election body must be independent. The parties must be independent. Once these things are functioning, then we can say bye-bye to electoral violence.
And it is one thing to propose that things be done in a certain way. It's another thing to profile models that can achieve those objectives. Now, with the clamor for independence of state institutions, how best do we match this road?
You see, the thing is with our lack of willingness. You see, no matter how weak laws are, institutions are, if we are willing to strengthen those institutions, then there will be a way. The fact is, the governor that is seated there is interested in the election. Instead of the outcome, is interested in who becomes the chairman of a particular local government just to protect his interests.
Why so?
Because that's the only way they rob the people. That's the only way of good governance. If my person is there, of course, I cannot, the person does my bidding. I know that once allocation is coming, of course, we have an agreement. I appointed you there, even though there was an election. I chose you. I ran your election for you. So, of course, you will pay royalty to me. So what we have is we have a generation of, how do I call it now? Leaders that have no passion for the people. Leaders that are wicked. Leaders that are rather, instead of being shepherds, are now hirelings. That we eat both the sheep and then milk the sheep. So that's the issue in our hands, and it's unfortunate until we will now get a situation where there will be a revolution, until the people say enough is enough. The people will take destinies into their hands. Then these people will know that, look, they cannot continue to ride us forever the way they choose.
I've always been an advocate of civil society core participation in governance. With the conversation we are having today, how best do we factor in the civil society to perhaps heighten the conversation for an independence or for the autonomy of state institutions towards achieving credible elections at the local government level?
You see, even in the holy books, reference to the Bible, it says money answereth all things. No matter how focused or passionate civil societies are, they need funds. How do they educate the people? They need funds. So we have a situation in our hands where the government is not even interested in the civil society. And even if they are interested, they are not even funding the civil society, because by way of grants, we are supposed to be funding the civil society by way of grants. Oh, for carrying out your responsibility, we know you don't earn money, but we can be giving you this to see how you can, educate these people.
The government should do that.
Oh yes, why not? What's the purpose of governance?
Doesn't it compromise the supposed independence and sincerity of civil society?
No, civil societies, they are classified as NGOs, non-governmental organizations. The only way they can function is by way of grants.
Yeah, I understand that angle. But I would rather advocate that civil society gets grants and loans, perhaps in the guise of foreign aids. But to say a sitting government in a system fund a civil society that is supposed to checkmate her excesses, how do you place that?
You see, you cannot separate the effort of civil society from good governance. The fact is, what is the purpose of these groups? If their purpose is to strengthen institutions, then the government must be interested in that institutions.
What if the government is not interested in having these institutions strengthened, and then civil society should, of course, exist to put government on the path of reason and integrity, and you expect a government that doesn't want an institution to function appropriately to still fund a civil society that will checkmate it?
The truth is this: if the government fails in its responsibility, why is the government funding civil service? What is the input of civil service to the Federation account? So we're talking about government being responsive as an institution. Say civil society is an institution. And we are saying invest in it.
But not an institution of government.
No, it's not an institution of government. They're independent.
They're separate from the state.
Of course. Why do they pay taxes? They pay taxes.
No, my point to you is this. If on the one hand you have the reason, of course, for the instrument of check and balances is to keep every man on the path of sanity.
Yes.
If on the one hand you have a government that is not in, of course, take for instance at the state level, where there is a conspiracy between, as you said, between the state government and the local government operators. Now you have a situation in which this same state governor that is interested in pocketing the funds of the local government, you ask him to fund a civil society organization that will check this activity. How best do you think that can happen? Bearing in mind the maxim of him who pays the piper dictates the tone.
We have, yes, is in the interest of government. If government fails in strengthening an institution, including civil society, then revolution looms. We have nations of the world all around us. And I keep saying it. Over Nigeria, revolution looms. It may be delayed, but it will happen. The people will suddenly realize that they have been such change for a long time, and they will take their destinies in their hands. So the easiest way to have an organized government structure is by government being interested. We're not saying that you should pocket them. Be interested in their successes. Be interested in strengthening their institutions. Grants all over the world. Grant is not, is money set aside to see how you can strengthen an institution. You are not expecting a kickback.
That's for government in societies where the government is interested in the advancement of the citizen. They set aside grants for civil society.
Yes.
But let's not dwell on that so much. We'll soon be going on a break. Well, before we do, let me shoot a fast one. In the electoral violence that has characterized several elections in Nigeria, especially at local government levels, who can you identify as the key players?
Of course, the key players, as it has to do with electoral violence, they remain the governor, the police, because if we are talking about ballot snatching and all manner of electoral malpractices that go on, we're talking about action or inaction of security agencies. For example, what happened in Ekiti in 2014. It was very clear that security agencies compromised their responsibilities. So we cannot not mention the governor in connivance with the security agencies. These are hoodlums don't just come to polling units. You see, they connive with security agencies. In fact, the security agencies withheld them when they are off guard. We know these things, and they are with us. We see them. So people that will remain responsible still remains the government. It is the governor that will release money to the security agents. Please go and share and allow us to do our work. So we have leaders who have no respect for institutions. We have leaders who don't care about our future, who only think about what they can benefit today and then forget about our tomorrow. And that's why if these people do not play essential responsibilities, for example, let's not even talk about money politics now. The police has the right under the law to say, no, I'm not interested in collecting this money. But unfortunately, you see, they keep collecting. And even the Inspector General of Police cannot even deny this. They are aware. They keep collecting. So we have an institution of government where everything is centered around money, not posterity, not vision, not mission. You see, nobody is accountable to his conscience. If you even call the security, please sing the national anthem, he cannot even sing it properly. It's as serious as that. He does not even understand the principles behind our independence. So it's unfortunate the situation we found ourselves, but the truth is our security agencies and our leaders remains the key players that are militating against the success of local government elections in Nigeria.
Well said. We'll be going on a short break. When we return, Head on Television Nigeria continues.
Welcome to Living Treasures Academy. Enjoy a conducive and serene learning environment. Qualified and experienced teachers. Equipped computer laboratory and library. Secured atmosphere. Extracurricular activities. An all-embracing curriculum for total development of the child. Comprehensive education for leadership. Join us today from crèche to secondary levels. Living Treasures Academy, committed to excellence.
Welcome back to Head on Television Nigeria. On today's show, we are discussing tackling electoral violence at local government level. My guest, Barrister Innocent Agala, we continue the show from this point. Besides the desire, Barrister, to hold on to power at all costs, ostensibly for the benefits attached to the office, are there other concerns? Are there other things we can attribute to the various election violence that we have witnessed, of course, at local government levels in Nigeria?
Of course, underdevelopment, lack of education, poverty. You see, when a man is deficient in knowledge of the mind, you see, he sees just today. And so the talks that are engaged in these activities only see what they can benefit today. The 10,000, the 50,000, the 1 million they can clinch on today. So that's why we are asking the government to, give us dividends of democracy. And they know that once they give us these dividends of democracy, we will not revert to them. They know. So they want to keep us at their mercy forever. And we are saying no to it.
So in which case, this is all connected to poor representation?
Oh, yes. Money politics, corruption. In fact, how do I call it now? It's like another system of slave trade going on even in the midst of constitutional democracy.
Oh, interesting. An interesting take indeed. Now, let me connect electoral violence at grassroots and voter apathy at that level. Electoral violence on the one hand, voter apathy on the other hand at local government level. Because I have been an INEC official. I conducted the 2011 general elections and I supervised some polling units. And I supervised the election that brought in the immediate past governor of Kogi State. As a journalist, I've covered a couple of elections. One thing I have seen is that you go to certain local government areas, there is this massive voter apathy. Do you think that is connected to electoral violence in any form?
You see, we can't separate electoral violence from poverty, unemployment, ignorance, and then corruption. These people know that once you know your rights and you insist on your rights, they'll be put out of the market. So there is interplay between these factors that I've raised. We can't successfully separate them.
Now, how best do we tackle this monster? Because my concern especially is, if you look at the statistics, almost every time we have elections in this country, there is a sister phenomenon that follows close by. That's post-election violence. And with it comes loss of lives and property. We can't continue this way as a nation. We have to put a stop to this rascality at a point. But how do we put that stop?
Of course, there are mechanisms in place. We must hold our leaders accountable for any electoral violence, irrespective of whoever the leader is. Once there's an electoral violence under your watch, you have a responsibility to discharge that you played your role, and in such a way that it was beyond you. So if our leaders are held as criminally liable for any death or violence as a result of or linking to election, if we begin to put our leaders on trial, you conducted under your watch, this happened. So you have a responsibility to come and prove that your hands are clean. And then by that we will be able to say bye-bye to this plague that has taken over our land.
So how do we galvanize the people to go to take their focus away from the police? Because you have established that the police itself is compromised.
Of course.
I don't know whether you are making a case also for the judiciary, but how do we galvanize the people to say, okay, ABC election was held in ABC ward, and this is what happened. Who should be held accountable? How do we galvanize the people to bring these culprits to book?
The people must know that the governors are their own representative. They must know that they are not subject to the governor, but that the governor is subject to them. They have only willed their rights and privileges to the governor. So they must know that whatever happens, these leaders that come to solicit their votes only derive the authority from them, the people. They must insist on what they want, insist on what is just, insist on dividends of democracy. That's the only way we can come out of this. As per judiciary, we all know that it's strange and it's unfortunate that we have both the Electoral Act or Electoral Law and the judiciary have not really done us well. Like the issue of Kogi State that just passed. We don't want to delve into it, but we all know that these institutions have failed. There's need for a massive restructure in parts of our institution, including the judiciary, to see how people can have confidence that, oh, once I lose and I've been robbed of my rights, I know where to go to. But once I know that if I'm robbed forever, then the next thing to resort to is the state of nature, which is violence. Let me see how I can disrupt it. Let me see how there will be a reprisal attack. So, unfortunately, we have a people who do not even don't know the power with which they operate with. They don't know that these people are only there by your mercy because you chose and elected them. Once we begin to hold our leaders accountable because I elected you, come and give me accounts. What have you done with this? What have you done with this? Then at that point, these people will know that, we know that they are at our mercy. But if we keep quiet and clap for them for commissioning borehole and celebrate and fight each other, then we know that our journey is still far away from the promised land.
You know, you just reminded me of what the late Nelson Mandela once said. An eye for an eye leaves every man blind. Now, my concern is, how do we get the people? How do we make them aware How do we sensitize them? How do we push the cart beyond point A? Do we go through the religious, the worship areas? Do we go through traditional means? What means exactly? Because the media has been shouting at the top of our lungs for decades. People have been talking about what is that best way we can use to get the people to wake up without resorting to this violence that will destroy the fabric of the nation.
Of course, religion has been said to be the opium of the people. So religion plays a very vital tool in sensitization. You know, these people have clerics and pastors that they listen to. So if our clerics and pastors will do what is just, then we'll be able to come out of this.
But beyond the clerics and the pastors, because we've also seen cases where the pastors, or forget about the pastors, where the religious leaders appear to be compromised. What do we do as a people has been my focus. How do we get the people to wake up and say enough is enough? And at what point, what channel do they use?
We need the civil society to step in. Of course, they've been doing well, but they need to, strengthen their responsibilities. We also need our institutional bodies to step up, like the police, the INEC, SEC. They need to also educate the people. And then from all quarters, as the media also joined us to educate the people, we see that people begin to realize that beyond these 4 years, we have a life to live and a posterity to guard.
In other words, the religion or any other pedestrian sentiment should be set aside.
Of course.
The future of Nigeria is what is most important.
Of course.
And it is at this point that we'll bring today's show to an end. But before we go, this is important, that violence at any point in Nigeria does no man no good. We have to end here. The development of the local government level is primary. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, security agencies, civil society organizations, religious centers, and all well-meaning Nigerians have a part to play in a violence-free election at the local council levels. I must say thank you for joining me on the show, Barrister Innocent Agala. Thank you, sir.
Thank you for the
legal practitioner, human rights activist. To everyone who took part in today's show, thank you. Until I come your way again tomorrow, I am Benneth Joshua, saying bye for now.